Hi, welcome to Pacific Northwest Worm Farm. Today we're going to kind of go over a brief overview of how our seeds are doing that we planted back on March 25th. Today is April 14th, and we've kind of undergone some big changes. I had to cut the time-lapse video pretty short, kind of change around some things, move stuff around so I could do some feeding and just a general health check to make sure everybody's, eating, no kind of protein issues or, underfeeding issues even. So everybody got fed except for the Louisiana swamp worm. So we're going to do a little bit more work with them tomorrow, kind of go over some stuff, and we'll kind of give some more intuition into what we're trying to do with those worms and why they are so different. But for today, we're just going to kind of take a look at the different changes that we've done, added a new light to the area, and pretty much how the worms are looking, or not the worms, sorry, how the plants are doing after initial planting and all the excess growth that they've kind of been going through. So I'll go ahead and put it on pause and we'll go from there. Okay, so here it is. Kind of changed up everything. So you see behind me, we've kind of stationed our new wood board here. So this guy is not putting any pressure, no compaction going on. Nice thing is, all this weight, I can still come over here, take a peek in. But I also moved a light down because, as you can see over here by my two new pots that I'm trying to work with some stuff on, they kind of took over the big spotlight up above. We come down here, just a little quick purchase so I can try some stuff out, you know, have a little bit more of a indentured growing area, because over here we just have some kind of lame run-of-the-mill grow lights for everyday use. You know, nothing spectacular, but they were a little special. Here you can see I kind of went a little different route, but I got some sticks from outside that the dog was trying to chew on anyways, and I kind of used them to help support, you know, like the tomatoes, the peppers. Over here in the back we're having some problems, so I moved the big stick. So this big old cucumber guy here had to lose a couple of leaves, but you can see those 3 new ones and another one up top starting to unfurl. You know, come in over the top here, you can really get a good sight. You know, got some nice basil coming up back here behind the tomato, and then it looks like those are some more cucumbers here and here, kind of finally starting to pop up. And then of course underneath those are just some regular run-of-the-mill peas. Then we come back over, what we have are the first 4 right here are our castings with just a run-of-the-mill seed starter Miracle Grow mix. Then our regular control right here in the middle, and as you can see, you know, cucumber to cucumber, yeah, both came up. But over here, this cucumber grew faster than any other one of these plants. These two, yeah, they're just kind of going along. The tomatoes really kind of outdoing themselves. You know, both of them came up here, both of them over here didn't come up, but I did get 2 seeds to kind of do their own thing. Finally getting this little bitty guy, the lemon balm here. And then I do believe, or sorry, this is the lemon balm, and this little guy is a snow pea that's finally deciding to pop up. Behind the 2 giant tomatoes, we have some basil just kind of hiding out. And then of course underneath the cucumbers are just some more regular peas, but you can really see the difference between those 2 peas, and then of course these ones over here, and then these ones over here on the final side are a mixture of a moisture control and seed starting mix with our castings. Now you can see the growth is definitely different. Like I said, these seeds aren't brand new. They're not even 2 or 3 years old. I'm pretty sure these are from like 2012 and 2011, and they have just been sitting out here in the garage. Nothing special. They've been experiencing, you know, all of the fun hot and colds that I go through. You know, yeah, you can see I definitely had some more insect growth. Lots of fun, you know, big guys coming up. When I did the move around that I did, I opened up a lot of pockets where, you know, the big guys like the soldier flies right there are sticking to. And then of course, you know, it is starting to turn spring, so we do have a lot of just fruit flies and gnats that, you know, you can see I've kind of covered. I've got a couple of moths that have flown into the light, but for everything that it is, you know, I started out with just this regular bin, that one, and then what's now my reclaim bin. And then I finally, back in November, added in these 2, and of course the 2 big monster guys back there. when we sifted those 3 bins back at I think it was the end of January, beginning of February, I'm not exactly sure, I was able to split up and I got a ½ pound in each of these. And then I want to say I did 3/4 pound, and then everything that was reclaimed had a lot of worms to it. So anything that was over 1/4 of an inch, you know, they kind of went in there. That bin definitely has, you know, a couple of good pounds in it now. The 2 back there have really started to see a lot of growth. I don't have anybody crawling up the sides yet, but it's definitely getting to that point. And then of course, you know, the 4 bins down here, well, the 3 and then the 1 up here, they have definitely come a long ways. I will be here very shortly adding in a couple of European nightcrawler and more Louisiana swamp worm, but they will go into the concrete form here. So we already have a started collection of them. I just kind of run through Home Depot with my dog every now and again, and I grab a couple every time. They're not expensive, they're actually pretty inexpensive. I only grab a couple at a time just to keep costs down. I am trying to start this from my garage, as you can tell. You know, a lot of it is just simple stuff. You know, my lights all up here are powered off of a power bar that plugs into where the garage door opener should be. You know, they're nothing special, but they are, you know, pretty good, decently rated grow lights. A lot of people that I talk to, they really ask me, how did you get into worm farming? And realistically, it started out as something to make money, but real life situations have, you know, kind of made me rethink how I want to do things, and I really enjoy this because it's a very peaceful thing for you to do, but also you can help save a lot of things. By making worm castings, you are essentially storing carbon that's normally burned. Paper, cardboard, anything that is a carbon source that you are putting into your compost or putting in with your worms, you know, that's a carbon source, and it is usually burned and pollutes our atmosphere. What I am doing is creating a small carbon sink to essentially take the carbon and kind of redistribute it for use later, or for plants such as those ones to very well nourish themselves and kind of grow in ways that most people would not understand. Yes, it does come with some gross bugs, but realistically, we're using bugs to make things better. Storing carbon and putting ourselves ahead is something that I am really fond of. Recycling is not where it should be nowadays. A lot of things get thrown away, and that's what we here at Pacific Northwest Recycling, or worm farming, are trying to do. We are trying to recycle things, but in a different sort of way. We don't want to reuse it as it was. We want to reuse it as something new. And this is very beneficial because recycling things like this cardboard right here that I'm using for a topper, or this paper bag, you know, I remember back in the 90s when everybody was against paper bags because it was causing us to cut down loads and loads of trees, which was bad for the environment. Well, it turns out it's actually kind of good for the environment, and I found a perfectly good way for us to help nurture our environment with creating a kind of either soil amendment, which is what I hope most people will use it for, or a seed starting material, as long as you mix it in, you know, with the right other things. Like a lot of this right here, this is all perlite and peat moss just mixed in with our castings. I am having, you know, a problem with the fruit flies and gnats, so on, but I did add these little sprinkles that you can see here. Right here, all these little kind of brownish pebbles that don't look like perlite. Kind of look in here, you can see more of them. Those are just a mosquito preventative. If I was to transfer these pots outside, this is it's a fungus that actually helps prevent mosquitoes, fungus gnats, and all of that kind of stuff. A lot of people just throw it in their indoor plants. I'm only using it because I have a problem with it in my garage. I don't like having to worry about breathing them. As you can see from the initial stick that is just covered versus some of these newer ones, I'm slowly starting to win this war, but it takes a long time. Unfortunately, I will probably always deal with it as long as I do this because I compost outside. If I can move my composting into an inside container with no insect access, I can actually finally get rid of all these problems. But I've completely digressed way too far. We can kind of put it to rest there, and I'll give you one last tour of how our plants are doing. And you can see how the progression went as far as growth. And I will make sure that we keep following these plants, and I'll try and pop in some updates here and there at the end of every video. I hope you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching.